So for those of you that follow my YouTube channel, you may recall that I had a bit of an incident with a Challenger tender repaint or Northern tender repaint where my Clearcoat reacted with either my color coat or my undercoat, probably the color coat, and caused crinkling or crackling and basically ruined the paint. And so this time around I decided to do a bit of experimenting. So I have this cracked and beaten up caboose that I treated the same way as I did my Guilford passenger cars. And the reason I'm going through this is because while I've repainted metal components in cars and whatnot, I have yet to do plastic. So I've got Waterslide decal here. It's just a Go American Flyer logo kind of thing, and I'm going to cut the bottom of this off and use that as a sample on this caboose. And then after approximately 10 minutes, I'm going to try this paint on it, this clear coat. And the instructions recommend that you have some distilled water. And so I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little bit of distilled water here. And then you add just a tiny bit of dishwasher soap. It's probably too much. And then it says you should stir it without creating bubbles. Also says you should have a clean surface for your project. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and use my scissors to cut the bottom part of the label off. It says to just take your label, put it in the water, and after a short amount of time you will see the clear plastic separate from the backing paper. And I was just remembering that I have not done watershed decals since I was in my single digits, like 6, 7, 8, when I used to have, I had both some snap and some glue together car models that had this kind of decal with it. And that's the last time I did anything with watershed decals. So trip down memory lane there. Just trying to see, it's starting to separate here, so I remembered it didn't take very long. Yep. Okay, so I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. You see how that's sliding off, hence the name Waterslide. Now there's different ways to do it. I'm, as you know, not an expert. I also am not using any sort of chemical to help it soften to go over rivets. So on this, and there I tore, I think, already. Yep, sure did. I was trying to slide it off and it actually tore on me, so got to be real careful with these. But yeah, there's treatments that you can soften your decal with to help it kind of melt over rivets. But they say after you put it on, you should use a Q-tip or something to basically work the air bubbles out from behind it. And again, because I have rivets in here, got a little bit of challenge. Maybe I'll tilt this up to help you viewers at home see a little better what I'm doing here. It's just a little bit crooked. There we go. But it says start from the middle, work your way out. Wow, tore it again. Look at that. Well, this is why I'm doing this, so I can figure it out. So I was pressing a little bit too hard. And look what I did. Yep, just tore it. Again, we got some rivet decal there that's causing it to bubble. Okay, then once you've got it on, you want to let it sit for about 10 minutes. So I'm going to do that, and after it sits for about 10 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and take it outside, and we'll see what happens with our paint. So I will see you in approximately 10 minutes. Don't go away. Alright, well, welcome back. It's been about 10 minutes, no, more like 15. You can see the decal there, and it, again, is not very very nice work because of the rivet detail on there. But again, for our purposes today, it'll be good enough. And I've been shaking my can of crystal clear enamel, and now we're gonna see if we get any reaction with the color coat or the label. Doing my best to stay out of the downwind, but the air is rotating, so I'm getting to breathe the fumes no matter which direction I paint from. But I've got, as you saw, several angles of coat, and at this point there's no reaction happening. I don't see any crackling of the paint, which is concern number one. And the decal is looks fine. Wait another 30 seconds or so and hit it again. And again, I'll probably do from 3 sides. And if there's no crackling that happens at that point, then I think this test would be definitive in my book. And I'd be ready to go forward with doing the cars. Alright. I'm being a little aggressive with my coat because, again, I'm doing an experiment here to see if I can force a reaction between the color coat and the clear. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Take a look at this. See that in that corner? And over here. Alright, so that's what I wanted to know. One of the articles I was reading talked about using an acrylic versus an enamel. I'm a little puzzled by that because the base coat, primer and base coat that I used were enamel. So I don't understand why clear crystal enamel won't work, but doesn't matter at this point because I got my answer. So I definitely am going to find an acrylic clear coat. Apparently Krylon has one. So I didn't actually need to go to the paint store. I just went to my garage, and lo and behold, I have a Krylon CoverMax clear, and it says it's an acrylic. So at this point, we've already got the crackling happening on the front, so that's, in a way, it's a lost cause. However, I did get paint here, overspray on the top, so that's going to be test number 2, although, as already discussed, this shouldn't react. If it does, then I'm up a creek without a paddle. Well, here we go. Again, I'm going to do it heavy, just to force any sort of reaction if there's going to be one. And that is a heavy coat. Wow. Plastered it on there. By the way, what do you think of my paint booth? Kind of cool, huh? Well, I've got crackling happening on the roof too. Okay, well, so now there is no crackling above this window right here. Still a little bit tacky, but that's going to be my next experiment. So this is experiment number 3. This time, instead of just plastering it, I'm going to do a light coat, let it dry for 2 minutes, and then come back. Okay, so I've done 2 coats, light coats, and I'm still looking at this spot above the window here, and I do not see, I mean there's crackling right around the window, but that was there from before. But in the small space between the top of the window frame and the drip edge of the roof, I do not see any crackling. So that's good. I also am not seeing any down here below the decal. So that's another space that was not crackled. Alright, I'm going to do one more light coat and wait a couple minutes and see what happens. Alright, so here is a spot that I was considering my test area here, and then down below the decal, and as you can see there is no crackling going on in the spaces I mentioned. So the next thing I want to do is experiment or take a look at the colors that I use, the primer and the color coat, and just verify that those were both enamel, as I thought they said they were. Alright, so I have my color and my primer here. Why Rust-Oleum can't just say acrylic enamel in nice big bold print with everything else on the cover? They tell you how awesome it does in terms of coverage, but they won't say if it's acrylic or enamel. So I happen to have a couple brochures here, and I have an entire brochure. Probably seen me hold this up before, covered with all their paint splotches. And nowhere, including the list, does it say if it's enamel or acrylic. Alright, so here's another one, color chart. Let's see. Rust-Oleum, acrylic enamel 2X. So it's not just one or the other, it's both. So what does that mean? Acrylic enamel. So I used acrylic enamel paint on this caboose. I tried a clear coat that was enamel, and that crackled. I tried a clear coat that was clear, or was acrylic, and that crackled. What's a guy to do? Alright, well, I know there's a bunch of you out there that have done this before. If you don't have a professional spray paint system and you're using rattle cans, what do you do? And is it just an issue of keeping your clear can back far enough that the chemicals evaporate mostly before they get to the paint, and then just putting it on real light? Help a brother out. Thanks.